Welcome to my teaching resource evaluation. The Australian Institute of Teaching and School Leadership has developed 7 graduate-level standards. Among those standards, I chose Standard 1.4. Standard 1.4 is Strategies for Teaching Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Students. The teachers required to demonstrate broad knowledge and understanding of the impact of culture, cultural identity and linguistic background on the education of students from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander backgrounds. This standard has many important interconnected aspects. It will also be vital for me as a graduate teacher who comes from Sri Lanka. I want to cater to the learning needs of all the students in my future classroom. As AITSL, it is my responsibility, as a teacher, to develop all the little minds in my classroom. But I felt pretty unsure what strategies need to be in place within my teaching pedagogies. That motivated me to explore Aboriginal culture and identity and set up my goal to demonstrate Standard 1.4. Throughout my research, I found an ideal resource called 8 Ways. 8 Ways comes from a research project involving DET staff, James Cook University's School of Indigenous Studies and the Western New South Wales Regional Aboriginal Education Team between 2007 and 2009. They focused on engaging teachers with Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal cultures, finding innovative ways to apply it in the mainstream classroom. 8 Ways is a constantly developing body with the experts' knowledge in Aboriginal communities throughout Western New South Wales. The main reasons I chose this website, as a resource. 8 Ways provides relationally responsive practice for teachers to include Aboriginal perspectives by using Aboriginal learning techniques. It goes beyond cultural awareness, cultural sensitivity and cultural responsiveness. Using 8 Ways as a resource, I can focus on the core curriculum and embed Aboriginal perspectives in my lessons. So in this section, they explain how 8 Ways initiated, their primary intention, a brief explanation of each element and some outcomes. Another reason for choosing 8 Ways is because of its easy accessibility for anyone who works with Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal students. Validity as the involvement of Western New South Wales Department of Education and Training. The originality of the framework. Here, they have provided general protocols that arose as best practices from teachers during their research. This is the most important reason for choosing this website, as I understood this training would improve my professional development and practices. It's an excellent professional development training which is the accreditation endorsed by the Department of Education. Directly linked with all elements of the professional teaching standards and registered under the terms of the New South Wales Institute of Teachers Continuing Professional Development Policy. The course comprises 5 modules called Refresher, Cultural Orientation, Competency Training, Wiki Session and Unit Planning. And the last reason for choosing 8 Ways is the multiple resources under their Best Practices section. In overview, they have Best Aboriginal Pedagogy Practice. It demonstrates how teachers could make the content inclusive with a bit of effort by using the 8 Ways of learning. In Best Practice Examples, they have more than 10 examples and strategies that teachers could use to demonstrate and meet the Standard 1.4. For example, in 8 Way Maths, have several questions that pertain to the students' authentic home cultures as they impact the learning of maths, which align with Standard 1.4. And then given some everyday perspectives to use in pedagogy, such as using pictorial graphs, doing hands-on problem-solving activities, using visuals and creating symbols, etc. Another example is Behavior Management, says how teachers could use 8 ways of behavior management: respect, hands and feet to self, follow instruction, quality work, and right place right time. Further, there are several resources of what teachers and school used with the 8 Ways of learning. Likewise, they have provided the most realistic and practical strategic ideas to demonstrate my understanding of cultural impacts while embedding the Aboriginal perspective. Overall, I think this is one of the best resources that could develop my professional knowledge to meet all the students' needs in my future classroom as a graduate teacher. I highly recommend this resource for any teachers. That concludes my evaluation. Thank you.